Welcome back, Double Team fam. How are we doing today?
I just drove in from Mammoth. I've been skiing the last 2 days, so I am exhausted.
See, and I feel like I'm not a big skier, guys. Every single time
I've tried teaching her 3 times.
I've gone skiing has been through a very emotional time. And each time I end up having some sort of mental breakdown on the mountain, and I'm not feeling my best. I'm not feeling confident, and I give up.
We're 0 for 3 right now.
So
in teaching Cammie to ski.
I know, but like I was thinking about it, and like you just seem so happy up there. Everybody seems so fucking happy up there on that damn mountain, just going down, and like there's like the pre and post parties and
the post party. No one pre parties. Everyone starts the day at like 8 a.m. on the mountain.
Okay, sorry.
It's called après ski. It's after.
Okay, it looks so
fun. It's kind of like climbing.
Collaborative. I don't know.
It's kind of like climbing where it's really relaxing. I was actually just thinking because I got back home and then like the reality of all this stuff I have to do set in. And I was like reflecting on like how peaceful I was on the mountain. All I had to worry about was just getting on the lift, getting up there, making my way down the mountain and then making
my way downtown.
Yeah, making my way down the mountain, getting back on the lift, and like that's all you're really worried about. So, to come back here, back to all my, daily worries, I was like, ugh. But here we are, I am thankful for this life. Anyways, it is really relaxing. I realized how relaxed it made me when I got home and got hit with all my stressors.
See, and I feel like that's why, like, I wish I had gone with y'all to this trip.
Why? What would you have done? Just sat at the lodge?
I don't know. Maybe I could have tried. I want to learn how to snowboard. Maybe I could have tried it and done something. I'm just, all the
but you got to go to New York.
Like, I need something.
You got to go to New York. You could have gone climbing, but you rescheduled. So we have a climbing membership. We have friends here that climb. You could have gone to do,
I realized I don't just trust anyone to belay me. Because I was thinking about it the other day, because there's a guy that we met at the climbing gym, and we're in a group text with him. And, Nicole was like, well, if I'm going to be gone, like, hit him up and y'all can go climb together. That way you have a belay partner. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know this guy. I don't trust him to belay me.
He was literally leading on the wall, Camilla, so he's way more experienced than we are. No, and
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I think like physically, yeah, like he is a well-rounded like climber, especially if he can do lead, but like mentally and emotionally, like I'm not prepared to make that step.
I think maybe that's a deeper reflection in your lack of ability to trust people.
I don't trust people. I don't. I have learned that through therapy. I have learned that. I remember one time I was doing, Danny was doing Reiki on me, and he was like, okay, something's coming up. You need to say this like over and over. And I was like, okay, what is it? And he was like, it's okay to let people in. And as soon as he said that, I was like,
is it?
Is it? Because they'll break my fucking heart.
Hand me the water. Yeah, actually.
So, I mean, like, actually, no, I don't. I have a very hard time trusting people. I think that's why, like, the issue with the neighbor is I never felt like I could trust him. And I couldn't.
Yeah, well, then why do you keep giving him chances?
I don't know, man. Anyways, that's over. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, like, for example, our friend Bano wanted, well, I don't know if he wants us to say his name. You can bleep that out. I was going to go rock climbing with him, and I was like, okay, I know him. I think I can trust him to belay me.
He's belayed me. He's great.
Exactly. So I was like, in my psyche, I couldn't justify going climbing with the other guy because I was like terrified.
Okay. I mean, I understand that, and it is, you are putting your life at risk. But you are also at a gym, so it's like safe, and the floors are so padded, it's like baby proof. So maybe start thinking about your ability to trust others. But I get it though. I'm not the most trusting person either. It's not.
But you and I show it in different ways.
Let's hear it. Okay, I'm open to hearing this. In what way? How? Yeah.
Because I kind of like reverse psychology myself. I will subconsciously not trust and consciously trust. If that makes sense. Like deep down, like I like in the back of my head, I'm like, no, I'm not actually like really like trusting this person, but I'll like be telling myself that I am.
Or like outwardly show as if you are.
Yes.
And how do I differ?
I think you just show it immediately that you don't trust someone. Which, I mean, I think you're more, in that sense, I think you're more upfront. I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you know, I think you're right. Because, for example, like, you know, that...
Because you put up a harder front.
I do.
That's why, like, everybody, like, I was on the phone with Cody earlier because he was helping me process something. And he was like, this isn't true for Nikki, but I think, you know, because she, like, shows herself in a very, like, you know, there's more of, like, a wall for her.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, but for you, like, I feel like, you know, because in my previous sentence, I told him, I was like, you know, I'm a person that I look for connection and companionship. Like, that's what I want. I look for it. And he was like, and you're one of the people that, like, it kind of that want kind of like seeps off of you.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that, like, people can tell, like, maybe you're a little bit more like open to it in a way, like energetically, but at the same time,
in the example of the guy at the climbing gym, I can, like, for example, I would like go to the gym with him and let him belay me, because like even though I don't trust people, I trust that if, like, just because we've seen him at the gym and I've seen like his level of climbing, and I would trust him. But then also like the added layer of that being that, like, I trust my judgment in thinking, okay, this person is good enough to belay me, it'll be fine. But it's true. Like, when I don't trust someone, I will not pretend that I do, or I will not try to convince myself that I do. I will just flat out, like, you know, say, like, or, you know, show that I don't trust that person, or if I don't want to let them in. I think what you're saying is that for yourself, like, even though you subconsciously don't trust them, like you said, you'll act as if you do, but, you know, deep down you don't. And so I'm not sure where that disconnect and why you would do that to yourself. Definitely something to consider discussing in therapy.
I actually need to book with my therapist again.
But in what Cody was talking about, I think that's a little bit different. Because I don't know that you wanting to find connection and, you know, like, companionship with someone is related to your subconscious and your conscious mind being at, like, or showing different things. So I don't know that the two connect or correlate.
I forget how I was making the connection anyway.
It's fine. But, I mean, just go climb. We're going to go climb with him on Thursday anyway, so it doesn't matter. You'll get to maybe have an opportunity to build him there. But I do think you do need to kind of prove to yourself that you trust your own judgment.
Absolutely, I do.
And I think
that's definitely a journey I'm about to go on.
And I mean, I get it, because, like, I've definitely made some decisions that later I'm like, well, what the fuck was that judgment call there, you know? But I don't know. That's complicated. But anyways, yeah, I went skiing and it was great. Did you have anything to add to that?
I want to learn skiing. Snowboarding again.
You for sure don't want to try skiing. Snowboarding is harder to learn. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
Is it? Someone said it was easier.
I don't know about that. I think it's easier when... I think they say that once you get the hang of it, it's easier to get good at it. But with skiing, it's easier to learn or get decent at it. But to, like, really get good at it, it takes a longer amount of time. I think that's the difference between the two. I've been skiing for 10, 11 years. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm really getting into my groove, and I'm really proud of myself, because, like, when I was ripping my way down the mountain on all the blues, trying out some blacks, I was really proud of myself, because I've, like, finally really gotten to a good place with skiing.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
we're also like, we're Aries rising. So I feel like for you and I, especially like to get out of our head, to work through our anxiety, to work through our problems, like there has to be a physical component to it.
Yeah, there does. Usually for fire signs there, yeah. 100%.
And I feel like you have definitely tackled your anxiousness and, you know, the things that you were going through by leaning into, you know, climbing and going skiing and stuff. And I feel like I can see the peace that has brought you. And I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie.
It has brought me a lot of peace. I know we talked about...
That's what I'm saying is like, I saw you post pictures of this weekend and like everything. And like, it does look peaceful up there. Like I remember...
it is peaceful. I was doing affirmations.
Trying to give me love. Hi, baby.
I was like, when you're, I mean, I don't know if any of you ski, but like when I was going down the mountain, I had my headphones in. I had this beautiful view of Mammoth Lakes. The mountains look gorgeous. Granted, it did get a little windy, so there were a few times where I'm like, okay, let's stay alive. I almost hit our friend. There was at one point I was zooming down the mountain, and so was our friend Gigi that went with us, and her and I were like kind of like going back and forth, like crossing across the mountain. There was one point where I was going so fast I almost ran into her. Luckily she dodged and like we were fine and I was able to slow down, but it did get really windy at some points, and that can sometimes get a little challenging, but I've gotten to the point where like I'm so good with it that like I know what to do and like I trust myself, and so like it's a good relationship with skiing. But also I was like saying my affirmations down the mountain, like I had my headphones in, I had my music, and I'm just like grooving along and I'm like saying my affirmations, and it's just like it is very peaceful. It is a really nice stress reliever, and if you want to learn, I totally support that journey, because I understand, you know, like, especially, I mean, I've gone 3 times in the last month skiing, and, you know, we're going to go again next month. So it's like, you know, well, granted, the season's almost over, but that's okay. You can still take lessons. But if you're going to come with us next time, you need to take lessons, because I don't know how to snowboard, and Gigi's not going to want to spend all day teaching, and it's best to like take lessons.
That's fine. I'll do that.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's good to have an outlet. And like, I don't know about you guys, but like, whatever it can be, like it can be painting, it can be, you know, writing or journaling.
For me, I have to fear for my life is what I've learned. I have to have that adrenaline rush. And I think that's why, like, for example, why climbing, especially, it was a strong start at the beginning in the sense that it got me more out of my head, because like I was like scared of going up. I was scared of, you know, I was still like, you know, kind of like getting a feel for it. But like now that we've done it more often, and it puts me in the right headspace where I'm just like, I'm in my zone, like I'm in the groove of things, I'm more present. However, because I feel more confident in it, I feel like it takes longer for me to get out of my head when I'm rock climbing.
Oh, that's why you have to start pushing yourself more.
Yeah. And I think about it, and like, for example, like when like climbing 3 peaks.
Oh, in Hawaii?
Yeah. When doing like a climb where there's like an aspect to it where it's like you're using your entire body, you're kind of fearing for your life a little bit. And that's the thing, it's like I don't want to become an adrenaline junkie just to work through my shit.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's like
there's something to be said for what it does. Yes.
Yeah. The physical aspect of it is really like that. The moment something is putting me like so present in my mind that I'm like, you know,
or your body.
Yeah, or so present in my body that I'm like so focused on it. That's what like truly helps me. And that's why like I've been journaling. I've been journaling a lot more recently, especially like in the past month, to help me process my feelings. You know, I've been trying to, you know, like doing my self-care things has helped a lot. But I feel like there's still like that stagnant energy that's just like, get me out of here, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
So,
well, we'll go climbing on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're in your head, or if you're just like going through a tough time, consider picking up a new hobby. And it doesn't have to be climbing. It doesn't have to be skiing. But like,
it could be like making pottery or something.
Yeah. Or I remember my ex-husband, when he would come back from deployments and he needed to kind of like get back into his routine, but like also get out of his head and just like kind of like transition back to normal life, he started doing these like little things where it's like these paintings where it has like everything numbered and you just paint like the colors, He did that, or puzzles. Puzzles are another great one. But yeah, sometimes like
he did those?
Yeah, sometimes it's good to do something that like really like makes you focus on something else to kind of like help you.
Maybe that's what
Get
I
out of
need to
your
do.
mind.
Is like maybe try some puzzles or something.
Oh, sorry, I'm congested. But I mean, I if you want to come try snowboarding, I fully support it. I'm just saying, like,
I
can't teach you how
I
to
thought
snowboard.
it was gonna be a girls' trip, and I even said like, oh yeah, I want to come, and then later in the group chat, you're like, wait, you're coming? Who's gonna watch the dogs? Why would you come? We're not gonna teach you. Like, that's fine, Nicole, but I can still just go.
You can't. I'm just saying, like, it's.
I got it. You're not gonna teach me. It's fine.
No. I'm saying, like, it's not like the times where we've gone and stayed at an Airbnb where, like, you can hang out with, like, you know, the babies or other friends that don't ski. Like, it would be just you.
I fully understand that.
Yeah, and the lodge isn't like that fun. So I would recommend like doing ski or snowboard lessons.
I can do that.
I've also considered. I'm like, man, do I want to, you know, try snowboarding just because I do love skiing, but I've gotten so good at skiing that I'm like, but snowboarding just looks so cool. And I will say this, when I'm on the mountain and like when you see dudes like snowboard past you, like guys look so hot when they're snowboarding. They really do. And they've got their gear on. You can't see their face. You can't see their body. You have no idea what they're working with. But like, if they really know what they're doing on that damn board, guys, it is hot. It is so hot. I simp so hard for all the men on the mountain. And then they take their goggles off in there and they put their, you know, whatever the face mask is down. And I'm like, you know, but like, but they look damn good doing it. I was telling Cammie, I texted her, I was like, talking to people on the lift is a lot like Love is Blind because like all you hear is the voice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get
like the general outline.
Sometimes you get a general outline. Sometimes you kind of see the mouth, but like that's about it. I was on one run though, and there were these 4 guys behind us. And so they got off the lift right after us. My friend was like putting on her snowboard. I was like ready to go. And so we ended up like going down the same time as them. And there was this one guy. I did get to see his full face at one point because he had his goggles up.
Was he cute?
He was so cute.
Did you get his number?
No.
Why?
But I almost ran into him.
You should have.
I'm not saying.
Oh my God, you hurt my knee. Maybe I should get your number. You know, like in case there's like
I'm not saying I purposely ran into him, but I definitely, no, I'm kidding. I didn't know I was in his way. I knew he was behind me, and then I turned to the left, and I guess he was coming down that way, and I hadn't realized.
See, I'm so psychotic. I would have orchestrated that. I'm sorry.
I was not
some reason.
I was not trying to orchestrate it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, how serendipitous would it have been if I had just like run into him and then we'd like tumble down the mountain and then we were like,
exactly. And then
oh my
your
God,
wedding
you're so
vows
hot.
is like if we hadn't run into each other at that mountain, you know, like.
I know, and it would have been such a cute story. Like, how did you two meet? Well, she cut left and then I ran into her, and then next thing you know, we're both, you know, at the med tent together. But so yeah, if you were in Mammoth, what was that yesterday? Monday.
Oh my God, you should make a Craigslist post on this.
Craigslist?
Yeah.
No.
Misconnections?
That's Overheard LA. No, anyways.
DM them.
Anyways, so if you were on Mammoth Mountain,
okay, but
Monday, March 11th, and you were wearing yellow, they were like a mustard yellow pants and then a black jacket with a black beanie. And you were with like 3 other dudes. I think one of them had a blue jacket. You were really hot, and I just want to say like, what up, dude?
Okay, this podcast is probably not going to get you to that. So why don't you just DM Overheard LA and be like, hey, look, I have a misconnection in Mammoth. See if the internet will work its magic. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I will consider. But yeah, he was really cute.
No, you won't consider.
But also, you know what I also discovered?
What?
There are a lot of skiers that are climbers. When I was getting my boots and my skis, the guy that was fitting me, which by the way, I got his Instagram because he was like, oh yeah, I was climbing in Joshua Tree. And I was like, are you a climber? He was like, oh fuck yeah. And I was like, oh my God, me too. I just got into it. And so I got his Instagram. He was like, next time I go to J Tree, we should go. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And then I was like leaving the parking lot and there was a Subaru. It's always a Subaru.
Gang, yeah, I know. They're all driving Subarus and Toyota.
Anyways, and the license plate read, I'd rather be climbing. And so I think there's a lot of crossover between the skiing and the climbing community. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know,
they're probably all fire signs with anxious attachment.
when I read that climbing book, because a lot of them put their birthdays on there. I don't know why the author got the birthdays for all of them, but I realized that a lot of climbers are fire signs, which makes total sense because fire signs are very active.
Yeah.
So if you're a fire sign, are you active? I'm curious. But anyways, what I was thinking was, I was like, I'm at this point in my life, I'm very into my hobbies. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, I love to rave. I love to ski. I love to travel. I love to climb. And like those.
Yeah, Nicole, you're also unemployed. So like.
Okay, stop saying.
Of course you're into your hobbies. It's the only thing you have to do.
Stop saying I'm unemployed, okay?
But you are. You've
Okay.
been unemployed for a year.
It's called an adult gap year. Okay, thank you. Okay,
Go on.
Okay, anyways.
Please support this podcast because that's how. Click on all the links below. Go shop our freaking links on doubleteamfam.com, please, because that's how we make our income.
Okay, anyways.
Sorry, that's how we substitute Nicole's income. So support her hobbies.
Okay, Camille, relax. What I was saying was,
You're really into your hobbies.
I'm really into my hobbies. Like those are the things that I occupy a lot of my spare time with. And I want someone that, is into the same things. So I'm happy to see that there's a lot of
has time for it.
Yes. Okay, anyways. So like I'm happy to see the crossover between the climbing, skiing community. However, I need to manifest a dude that likes climbing, skiing, raving, and traveling. So yeah, I hope to find someone that likes all the things. Now, I get it. If there's, one thing that they don't like doing as much, that's fine. Like, I think it's good to have things that, like, are your own in a relationship. However, the ones that I really spend a lot of time doing, I would really like for them to also, like, raving. Raving is really big for me. Like, if I meet a dude that, like, isn't into raving, we're going to have a problem. Because I go to, like, at least 10 a year. So I prefer for them to be there. Anyways, that's not what this episode. But this is not a skiing and climbing podcast.
This is not a skiing and climbing episode. And no, yeah, I hope you find someone. I hope they're rich as fuck so that they don't have to work and they have the time to entertain your hobbies. But also, yeah, let's manifest a guy that
is into
carries his weight.
Yeah.
Anyways. No, today's episode is not about. Also, if you're watching YouTube, Lobito has decided to join us.
That would be our dog.
He's just the cutest pup. Yes, he is. Good boy.
Also, why are you contorted like that, dude? Come on.
I know.
There you go. Up.
No, he just wants to cuddle.
No.
No, who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy? Hey, DT fam, we have a new sponsor for you. Now, I think we can all agree that we love great sex all around. And if you're looking for a more natural enhancement booster, men, you should try Joy Mode.
Tell me a little bit more about it. What's Joy Mode?
So, Joy Mode makes all natural and science-backed supplements. So, it's kind of like, you have like your favorite little electrolyte powder that you take before the gym. So, Joy Mode is like your new little pre-workout before sexy time.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So they have science-backed supplements dedicated to helping men perform better across their core functions. I think, yeah.
Okay.
So it is. So their trademark product, the sexual performance booster, is every man's solution for increased blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. Like I said, it's like pre-workout, but for sex. I think that's great. Just like you use supplements to enhance your gym time, it's okay to use supplements to enhance your sexy time. That's why we have, products like Joy Mode or lube or etc. just to make it more pleasurable all around. So redefine your intimacy and go to usejoymode.com and use code DOUBLETEAM to get 20% off. Of course, we'll link everything in the episode description. You can also find this link and code at doubleteamedfam.com. Oh, wait. And it's free shipping too. So that's 20% off and free shipping when you use code DOUBLETEAM at usejoymode.com. In other news, we are going to do a bender in Vegas this weekend, so wish us luck.
It's time to get ready for pool season, so I need another bender. I'm kidding. I've been doing well with... What?
That's horrible.
I know, that's why I said I'm kidding.
No,
I've
but
been
basically,
doing, obviously, between skiing, climbing, and going to the fucking gym, I'm in great shape. I don't need a bender to get into shape.
No, this is just all about balance. But we are going to Vegas, so we should reach out to Alexis.
Anyways, no, actually what we're going to do this episode on was Kimi did a little poll on our IG stories because she saw a post and it was asking about what we think the top reasons for divorce will be for 2024. And
yeah, the post was from Crazy Bitch Probs. I follow that account. And it said, in 2024, what do you think is the number one reason for divorce? And I posted that saying, curious to know what y'all think it is. And I mean, everyone's right on the money.
Okay, but I was also kind of shocked at some of the responses, or like
were some people projecting, or
some people were definitely projecting. Speaking on the topic of, you know, when you were saying I should manifest someone who's rich, considering all my very expensive hobbies, because by the way, I went to go buy climbing gear last week, and let's just say it is not cheap. But a lot of people said money, and I'm curious, like, do you guys do if you're in a couple, do y'all do joint finances? And, or if you're single, like, what do you want your finances to look like with, like, your future partner? Because, like, I was thinking about this, and
in Nikki and I's marriage, we've had
joint finances since we each split. It is definitely joint finances at this point. Like,
no, but it is. Yeah,
it is. But yeah, it might as well be. But
see, like, you and Nate did.
We had joint finances. We did. So basically we had one checking account. Both of our paychecks went into there. And then we had a short-term savings, a long-term savings, and then we had individual investment accounts.
And see, Daniel and I did not do it that way.
What way did y'all do it?
We had individual checking. We had, after I think like 2.5 years, we finally did a joint savings.
Okay.
And then typically we would just trade on and off, like who would buy this, who would buy that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now, I will say we had separate credit cards. So he had his own credit card. I had my own credit card. And then, like, obviously the credit cards were just paid from the checking account that we had, our joint checking account. And so, and I was thinking about this because, okay, for example, when we divorced, the biggest thing that we had to figure out was, like, how to split our money. And so,
yeah,
because,
but you
like,
calculated it to a T.
Yeah, no, we calculated and it was fine, but it was like, you know, for example, like, especially in the last, like, month or two, you know, where, like, we still had a joint account and, like, you know, he's paying off his credit card, I'm paying off mine, you know, that kind of thing. It was like, that sometimes got a little dicey. But I think if I had to do it all over again, I don't know that I would do joint finances. Granted, I want a partner that is, like, financially stable and they can handle their own, you know, like, bills and shit. But I don't think I would do joint finances again.
I don't think so either. And I don't know why that reminds me of, I remember someone had posted in their stories, they're like, you know, write a confession about your marriage or your relationship that your partner doesn't know or something.
Yeah.
And someone put that obviously they have separate finances, but they're like, my partner doesn't know, or my partner thinks that I make 3 times what he makes. What he doesn't know is that I actually make like 8 times what he makes. And then I was like, bitch, where the tea? I was like, where are you hiding this? Like, how does he not know? And also, like, that probably means you're being frugal as fuck, because it's not like you can just like show up with a Maybach and be like, oh, hey, I just bought this. You know, like,
that's insane.
What is she doing with that?
And see, that's the thing. Like, I would want there to be, like, trust. Like, if
I would want to know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, you know, at the end of the day, like, I remember.
But that begs the question. Do you need to know how much your partner makes? As long as they're contributing to the bills and everything, like, do you need to know the exact amount that they make? Like, is that necessary information?
The way that I'm a planner, yes.
Okay.
Because
you want to be able to make for like joint financial decisions.
For example, I don't want to be like, hey, let's take the fam to Fiji, and like,
and what?
Them, like, what if they're, I don't know, like, what if I want to spend my money, like, you know, ball out, get, you know, this nice villa, and they're like, oh, I can only contribute this. Like, let's say, like, what if they're acting poor when they're not? I don't know. Maybe that's a horrible example. No, but I think, like, in the sense of, I would want to know what my partner is making so that it's evenly split.
Or proportionally split?
Proportionally split, yes.
Okay, so say but what if you have a partner
because,
that,
like, for example, like, you know, you, in your marriage, you were the breadwinner, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, when you guys wanted to, like, go do nice things, like, that was mainly you footing the bill.
I never looked at it like that, though.
I know, but I mean, that's one way to look at it. And I'm not saying it needs to be.
It was a team effort. No, but I agree. Like, I mean,
it doesn't need to be completely fair, because I understand, like, it's also just a little nuanced in the fact that, like, everybody prioritizes how they spend their money differently.
And I think that's the reason why I would want separate finances, is because, like, at the end of the day, yeah, I would just want, like, my partner and I to, like, proportionally contribute to the bills. Mm-hmm. And then from there, whatever's left over, that's your money. You do what you want with it. And then I have my money left over, then I'll do what I want with it.
See, and I think, like, that's a good setup. Like, okay, for decisions like cars, house, bills, travel, like big purchases, I feel like you need to be able to make those together.
Yeah.
And contribute to them together.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, the day-to-day, like, you know, if my boo wants to spend, you know, $200 a day on massages, I don't know, like, if they want to do that, sure, like, whatever.
And that was the thing about joint finances, is that, like, my ex-husband definitely had an Amazon addiction. So a lot of times I'd be like, dude, we really need this from Amazon? And he'd be like, well, why are you trying to control what I'm doing with my money? I make money too. And I'm like, okay, you're right, you do. So it's like, I'd have to, like, bite my tongue. But we had, you know, for example, we had amounts that we agreed upon where it was like, if it was, you know, over a certain amount, then definitely needed to, like, consider, you know, the other person's, like, opinion in that matter. But, like, you know, on Amazon, it was always under the threshold. So granted, when it's every day.
Yeah. And I guess, like, that's the thing, because I look at my example and I'm like, would I be okay with someone spending $200 a day on massages? Like,
but if it's their money and if it's not affecting your money, like, would you care?
I guess as long as I guess that's the point right there. It's like, as long as it's not affecting our livelihood.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because, like, if, for example, if they're spending, like, a shit ton of money on, like, alcohol, that was actually one area where my ex-husband and I used to have some issues, is that he would spend a lot of money when we would go out on alcohol, and I just don't drink. So then I'd be like, that's kind of a waste.
I went through the same thing.
And on top of that,
I just had to let go of it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I had to let it go too. Yeah, it's his journey. That's what he likes. And so, and, you know, but then, you know, he'd look at me and be like, well, you like to buy your nice Louis Vuitton purses. And I'm like, okay, fair point. You know, so it's like, see, that's why I'm saying, I just don't think I do joint finances anymore, or in my next, like, committed relationship. Mm-hmm. But I think
you and I handle having joint finances pretty well.
We do, actually. So way to go for our marriage. But we actually do handle our joint finances pretty well. Like, I don't ever question any of your financial decisions, but at the same time, they're actually very similar to my financial decisions. I was going to say,
after my third Lala set, you were like, well, Camilla.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, Cammy got obsessed with these, like, sets from this one clothing brand, and they're like $200 a piece. And I'm like, after the third one, I was like, yo.
I told you that was my last one.
We're nearing, you know, we're past the
and
half.
You know what? If I want to buy another heavy manner swimsuit, that's what I want to do. But besides that,
but for the most part, we have very similar.
Yeah, because we like to spend money on the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I can't judge the 3 sets that you bought from Lala for $200 a piece when I just went and, you know, bought lift tickets for the same price. Or, well, I mean, I've probably spent the same amount on lift tickets that you've spent on those Lala sets. So, yeah, you know. I don't know. But I think that's really important. Like, when you're entering a relationship, like, really take into consideration, like, you know, your partner's financial decisions and all of that, and like how you're going to handle like how you're going to handle finances. But when a lot of people put that, it made me wonder, like, what about it? Is it because like you're at different levels financially and you can't agree? Is it because like you don't trust your partner's financial decisions? Like when I saw like literally so many people put money and finances as a reason for divorce, it made me wonder what exactly about money and finances.
Well, yeah, financial stress, like in the sense that like, you know, maybe you have one partner that's just not being responsible and the other one is, or they prioritize what they spend their money on differently, and it, you know, it can cause rifts if it is shared finances, or even if it's not, you know, it can still have that effect where it's like, you know, one person's always griping why they're, you know, buying beer every day or something.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of people put social media.
That's got to be new.
It is new. And I think, and like, that is such a weird subject because I feel like, you know, especially with social media, Oh,
that reminds me. Hold on. This was because I feel like when you say social media, it could be a broad spectrum. Sorry to interrupt you, by the way. No, it could be a broad spectrum of things because, for example, say your man is liking a bunch of girls' pictures on, you know, half naked girls on social media. Like that's one form of like how social media could affect your relationship, but that's like more tied to cheating. I remember I saw this story once. It was a Reddit post, and the guy was saying that basically he divorced his wife because she was a social media influencer, and she was like, and basically of like their family. And he said like in his own home, he never felt as if he was like he could do anything in his own home because like everything always had to be so picture perfect for her posts.
Yeah.
And an example that he used was that like when their daughter was like taking her first steps, he like set like a drink can down on the coffee table to like be in the moment or whatever, like take a video of it, whatever. And then later she like blew up at him and like got so upset because like the whole shot was ruined, you know, for her social media page because of what he had put down on the coffee table. And I was like, I found that so fascinating. So I think social media could also be one of those where it's like a variety of reasons. I think more often than not, it probably has to do with, you know, light cheating on social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's hear it.
No, I have a good example for this. Neighbor guy. So every single time, at least like in the recent, and maybe I just didn't pay attention to it before, but it started to like happen so often that I started paying attention to it. But like, for example, like we'd be cuddling on the couch, but he would be on his phone the whole time on Snapchat, you know, snapping his friends on, you know, whether it was, you know, just a platonic friend or just watching someone's stories, whatever, you know, on Instagram, like, you know, doing whatever. So it was like he was constantly on his phone. And it kind of made me feel like we weren't actually like having a connective, like quality time moment.
Experience, yeah.
Yeah, because it was just tainted by the fact that like he was on social media the whole time. And I feel like there's always, you know, especially when it comes to social media, so many people can get sucked in to where they're watching it and spending, and you know, they're watching content all the time and they're spending so much time on their phone that it does take away from the present moment and the experience that they're in. And I feel like, you know, especially in a partnership, like if that's happening over and over and over again, it could eventually lead to, you know,
divorce. Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I think about like,
but I mean,
I need to do better about being on my phone less. But if I am spending time with someone, like whether with my friends or like, you know, a romantic partner, I do try to be a little, or I definitely try to be more cognizant about not being on my phone, not being on social media, because I want to be present.
Well, see, and that's the thing is like typically like if I'm spending time with someone, I will put my phone down. I don't want to have it on me.
But I also understand, like, you know, say for example, you're on a 2-week vacation with your friend and like you just need to decompress on your phone. Like, I get that too.
No, that's different.
That's different.
That's so different. But I think it does, you know, it does go to show that like our phones and social media in general can take us so much out of present moments that it can have an effect, a lasting effect on relationships.
100%. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the funny responses real quick before we get back to the serious ones. Okay, so these were some of, I think, the ones that at least made me laugh. So, 2024 reasons for divorce. Your spouse voting for Trump. Valid. I'm sorry. I would divorce someone if I was married to them for years and then come to find out they voted for Trump, I would divorce them. Another really funny one, unannounced pegging. I don't know if if that's a reason for divorce, but I could see how if that's a boundary and it gets crossed, you would perhaps
because that
find grounds for separation.
could be considered rape.
Exactly. Yeah. Unannounced pegging. Yeah.
That's like sexual assault.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if one thing that people don't understand about, even though when you're in a marriage or when you're in a relationship,
consent is still a thing.
Consent is still a thing. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want my partner to surprise peg me.
Exactly, yeah.
In the asshole.
Someone put robo dolls. I don't think that's a 2024 issue, but I could definitely see as like robotics continue to innovations in robotics continue to progress. Like at some point we're probably going to have robo dolls that physically can be like a woman or a man or whatever. So I foresee that being like a maybe a 2035 issue.
But I think that's that
boils down to cheating.
It's a level of cheating if that partner considers it a level of cheating.
I'm trying to see if there were any other really funny ones. I thought those three were really funny. Matt Rife, what the fuck? How is that a reason for divorce?
Wait, hold on, I want to see. Homie's being canceled anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you need to worry about him anymore.
Yeah, no. Not enough sex. Wedding cake?
Oh, I've seen this. Okay. The wedding cake actually makes a lot of sense. And I've seen this on social media. It was a trend on TikTok for a while where basically a lot of people were talking about how like when you get married and you guys go to cut the cake, if your partner like smashes the cake into your face, like that is a sign of disrespect and could be considered grounds for divorce. And I, for one, agree. Like if they take a little bit of frosting and like jokingly put it on your nose, like that's fine. But like if they like, especially brides, like you spend all day getting ready, like hair and makeup, you want to be perfect, you want the pictures to be great, and then your husband, like a total jackass, just decides to like dunk your face in cake. I would consider that madly disrespectful and I would consider divorce. Not to be dramatic, but I would.
Don't most divorces happen? If it's not within the first year, it's like after the 7th year or something like that?
I think, yeah, if either within the first year or around the 7-year mark, which is funny because it was around the 7-year mark of marriage that we got divorced. So, anyways, but yeah, I mean, I think it's statistically the 7th year is one of the most telling years in a marriage.
Reading these responses, so many people said, it really does come down to money and finances, cheating, lack of communication, and sex.
Yeah,
those are the top four reasons.
Those of what everyone said, those are the top 4. So infidelity,
which I did like a quick Google search, and this is based on Forbes. Forbes Advisor revealing divorce statistics in 2024.
Wait, we're only 3 months into 2024. They already have statistics? I guess so. Okay, continue.
I think this is based on like 2023.
Okay, gotcha.
Top reasons for divorce: lack of commitment, infidelity or extramarital affairs, too much conflict and arguing, getting married too young, and then financial problems, substance abuse, domestic violence, lack of support from family, health problems, religious differences, little or no premarital education.
Interesting. A lot of people did put like things along the lines like, for example, lack of willingness to take feedback, devaluing your partner, weaponized incompetence, imbalance in division of labor. And yeah, I think those are all like huge things. I guess they could fall under, what was that first one? Hold on, what was it?
Lack of commitment.
Yeah.
Well, and I think because those things like what
like weaponized incompetence or like not imbalance in division of labor, especially home labor.
Yes,
that's a huge one.
Well, because that's your day-to-day life.
I can't tell you, and this always
gets so annoying.
This always frustrates me so much. And I don't know everything about my friends' marriages, but like so often I see where like they're the ones picking the kids up from school, cleaning, cooking, everything. And like, what do their husbands do? They just come home and like, you know, do one or two things and that's it. But then like the woman takes care of everything else, all the planning, all the logistics. Like, I don't think you guys realize how much like logistics takes up time management. And shout out to Cami because she does the logistics for our entire lives. And I'll admit, sometimes I don't give you enough credit for that because you really do. And
thank you.
But sometimes, like, I was thinking about it and, like, you know, like the logistics of, like, you know, doctor's appointments and, you know, vet appointments and your social life and your, if you have kids, like your kids' social lives and your kids' calendars, your school stuff and, like, your own shit and work stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like, managing all of that, like, whoever it falls on in your household, everyone go give them, you know, a big pat on the back, buy them a massage and, you know, whatever.
I would love a massage. Thanks for offering. Just kidding.
Now, what I'm saying is that, like, you know, the logistics, especially in your life. So, like, whoever handles it in your household, like, go give them a big thank you because I've definitely come to realize, like, that is a lot. So many people are like, oh, let's like plan this and this and you know, like I look at my calendar and like it's all organized because of Cami, and so yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you for editing the podcast.
You're very welcome. There's a dog here.
And exploring your hobbies with such vigor. Anyways. No, I think, you know, especially with lack of commitment and
I think everyone should define commitment for themselves. I know I've talked about it on an episode before. If you're new here, I'll go ahead and explain it. But to me, commitment is nurturing the relationship and problem solving. So if that person is showing up to continuously nurture the relationship and showing up to continuously solve problems, that to me shows commitment.
Yeah.
And so, for example, you know, on the topic of like household chores, if like your partner is just not budging, that can show a lack of commitment. There's a problem. They're not willing to come to a solution. You know, they're being stubborn, whatever. Like that is not problem solving. That is a lack of commitment. So like I can see, you know, sometimes people will probably look at that and be like, well, why would you end like an 8-year marriage over your partner refusing to help around the house or do the dishes? And
because
it's like,
day after day that gets exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. And why would you want to be with someone that just absolutely refuses to problem solve with you?
And I mean, there are like, unfortunately, there are people who just never learn to, I don't know.
Be empathetic, take care of shit.
Yeah, like take care of a household.
Yeah. This is another one. I didn't see this one too much, but I think it could also, like, it would be a reason for me. And for example, it's just if someone, and granted, I don't even know, I wouldn't even go as far as like marrying someone who exhibited this behavior, but like if someone was just like really inconsiderate, like they just like did not take your needs into account whenever making decisions for themselves.
Someone put lack of cardio.
Oh yeah, that's a bit. Oh, okay, I understand that because like I'm sorry, for me, I want a partner that is physically fit in the way that I am. So if they started to like, you know, let that go, I would probably be like, I would want to problem solve that first. But if there was no improvement, I would consider that. And I don't know if that makes me really shallow, but it's an honest answer. If you're gonna be with someone for life, I don't know. It's just
Wait, what were you saying before though?
What was
before I interrupted you?
About like if someone was just like really inconsiderate and never like, just like wasn't thoughtful, never like considered your feelings or anything in like in decisions that they were making. But I don't know that I'd ever go as far as marrying someone like that. So I don't know if I was
going to say lack of consideration in general is just...
Yeah, you shouldn't even take that to marriage if that's how your partner is acting.
Because, I mean, especially if it's like towards you. I realize some people can just be considerate for some and inconsiderate for others. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, like that's okay. I get it. You can't give everybody the same level of consideration. But when it is your partner... there needs to be, I mean, high level of consideration.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I'd ever get that far. And someone actually did put misogyny as a reason for divorce. And I'm, like I said, I don't think I would ever get as far as marriage if I had a partner that exhibited like a lot of misogyny.
Yeah.
So
I think like...
wait, where were you going to go with that? Because I was going to go on the tangent of like lack of communication was probably next to money was one of the most responses. And I think that one is just so sad to me because it's like, how it's really not that hard to just freaking communicate. It really is not.
No, but sometimes, you know what?
Let's hear it.
Sometimes it is.
Okay. In what way?
Sometimes in the sense of that, like, if you have a partner that doesn't make you feel safe in communicating, because when you want to bring up something, it turns into like this big, massive ordeal, and you would just rather, you know, there's instances like that where you would just rather avoid the fight and, you know, put up with whatever the shit. And this is not in relation to Niebuhr. This is relation to like other previous partnerships.
No, I know. But like, even then I was
like,
going to say, like, do you want to be with someone that doesn't make you feel safe in talking about your feelings?
No, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying is like the lack of communication is like, you would think on paper, like, yeah, it's super easy to like communicate if you were just willingly open to do it. But you do run into the issue so often where, you know, you get two people and it's like, yeah, you don't find that you can communicate everything. You might be afraid of the response. You might be afraid of like what the person's reaction is. You could just be like wary of if they're going to take it wrong. So it's like, I think a lot of people, and I think that's why we have, as a collective, why we have such an issue with communication, because at the end of the day, like, think about it. Everyone's always like, lack of communication. What do you need in a relationship?
Communication.
Like,
yeah.
you know, it should be so easy, but why isn't it? Because there's so many reasons why it's not.
Yeah.
Well, and like, I remember like the other day I was talking to my friend, and I'm anxious attachment. She's avoidant attachment, which neighbor guy is also avoidant. And she was like, let me teach you how I think, how I process an avoidant. And I was like, okay. She goes, sometimes, you know, especially like, you know, for example, an issue comes up, I'd rather just not deal with it and not voice it, because like, why will it matter, or will it change anything? Or, you know, she was explaining just like the way that like her avoidant attachment like will make her like stop before like even trying to, you know, move forward with whatever is happening, because it just doesn't even want to like face it, or it doesn't want to acknowledge it, because acknowledging it then means, you know, then there's a problem to fix or whatever. So it's like, I think like with anxious, for example, for me, like when I see the issue, I want to like, you know, anxious attachment, you want to latch on, you want to figure it out, you want to like frantically get through it because you don't want to lose the person. Where it's like avoidant, it could be like, you want to avoid the conversation. You don't want to look at it. You'd rather just like, and I know you're avoidant in a way, but you, I think, are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think I was thinking about it recently. I think I'm more disorganized, because in certain situations,
that's what I was going to say. I think you're nowadays, especially, you're more disorganized.
Where there are times where I'm avoidant, and there are times where I am.
Because there are
anxious.
times where you just don't.
Yeah.
But I'm the same way sometimes too.
I'm more, but you
not in relationships. I do that more like for self/platonic things I'd rather not face.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, yeah, it'll really depend on the other person and their energy, but I find myself being more and more disorganized.
But it's true, like when it comes to, you know, routing it back to lack of communication, it's like a lot of the times the problem with having open communication is you have to be readily vulnerable. You have to be willing to look at it at both sides. And you have to be willing, like, for there to be true open communication, you have to, when someone tells you something, you need to be able to regurgitate it back how you're perceiving it, so that they understand how you're perceiving this news that you're giving them. That way, they can correct or clarify if there is anything that they're perceiving wrong.
I also think there needs to be, or like for effective communication, there does need to be accountability.
Absolutely.
Because if someone is telling you like, hey, this is how you're making me feel, this is how like I'm processing this,
and
this
it just goes right over their head.
Yeah, and they're just and they don't take any accountability for like what you're communicating, or like, well, I mean, you know, they're communicating to you how you're feeling, and you're taking like no accountability. Then I think that is a lack of communication, because then you're not like, it like the communication is stopping there. Like there's a front, and it's not getting past that. So like you're never gonna get past it until you take accountability.
Well, and I think like the hard part is, and at least the patterns that I've noticed, especially if you look at the older generations, there was never problem solving, because women never felt empowered to stand up for themselves. men were a little bit more egotistical in the sense that like, you know, like, oh, they're the breadwinner. Oh, they come home and this should all be done. And there were the societal roles had a much bigger part in our like psyche and the way that we process things. So then you have a whole generation that never knew how to communicate. And then you have a whole generation that saw that and didn't know how to fix it and kept it going. Yeah. And then now you have the more recent generations where it's like, we're trying to fix it and we're all in this clusterfuck of like, well, what the fuck? Why is this so difficult when it should really be so easy? And it's that.
Yeah. And now I feel like, I mean, I don't know, especially like in non-monogamous relationships, there's over communication. I mean, not over communication, but there is just so much communication that it almost gets to a point of like being, it's hard to like digest all of that information as well.
Yeah.
So
it's about finding the balance at that point then.
Everything really comes down to finding a balance.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Also, I hate the people that put, and if you did this, you suck. You know, reason for divorce, women, and then other women put, or some men put women and then other women put men. So it's like, don't blame the other gender. Do not blame the other gender, because at the end of the day, you know, we each have our own shit, gender norms based on, you know, societal conditioning, and it's different for each of us. So we really can't blame the other. What we should be doing is figuring out how we can empathize and help support the other in overcoming that.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times, especially like for example, that book that we read in that one episode, the poems book, Men Are Trash.
Oh, yeah.
Men aren't trash.
You're saying men are trash?
No, I'm saying men aren't trash. How a lot of them are raised as trash, and then they become trash.
And how they're conditioned by society is trash.
Yeah, but they're inherently not trash. There's a lot of good men out there. On the flip side, like, same with women. Women aren't trash. How some of them are raised and how some of them are conditioned in life to move forward, like, yeah, that can end up being really fucking trashy. But it's like...
For the genders as a whole, yeah. Sometimes with dating in Los Angeles and, like, all those men constantly, like, giving you the same reasons and, like, having the same issues and the same traumas, like, it's really easy to fall into the mindset of, like, oh, all these men are trash. And so, like, it takes, like, an active effort to be like, no, you know, they all just kind of have, maybe you're running into people that have, like, those similar issues and experiences and whatnot, but, like, at the end of the day, it does not mean that, like, men are trash.
I would just like to get away from the language, I think, you know, especially, like, in the more, like, feminist and power movements. Like, I understand, like, the patterns and the data point to a certain thing.
Yeah.
But we have to heal them too.
That's why I always say, like,
you gotta help the men too. Or they're just, we can't sit there and be like, well, all of you are trash, but you need to do better. And it's like, you don't need to talk about it like that.
Yeah, do what you can to help them.
Yeah. Oh, look at Lobito.
I know.
So,
anyways, overall, this poll was just very interesting to see.
Here's some fun statistics from the Forbes article that I was reading. So, basic incompatibility and money issues are among the top reasons for divorce. Couples divorce for many reasons as well, other than lack of commitment or infidelity. Here are the top 3 causes. 50% of couples report arguing and excessive conflict. 45% of divorcing couples indicate they married too young. 38% report financial problems as a divorce cause. Wait, and I saw a really interesting, where was it?
I was going to say, as someone that got married at 21, I think everyone should wait until at least after 28 to get married. Personally.
Oh, this is what I wanted to read. And I'm just going to name these off fairly quickly. Third marriages have the highest divorce rate, 73%. 40% of new marriages include a partner who is remarrying.
That would be me in my next one.
Only 6% of divorced couples remarry each other. Divorcees are more likely to die earlier than married people. What the fuck?
What?
I don't know.
Where does that come from?
No idea. The majority of divorcees own their own home. This I found really surprising. Couples who live together before marriage are more likely to divorce.
See, I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that too. Having friends who are divorced increases your risk for divorce.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, because then you're all like, leave that bitch. And like, yeah.
Leave him.
And then you're all supporting
He's
each other. Yeah,
trash.
exactly. They're all supporting. That one I can see. That one's pretty, yeah.
The marital stability within a couple's social network also plays a role in whether their union lasts. Couples who have friends who divorce have a 75% increase in risk of their own marriage ending. Even couples with 2 degrees of separation from divorce will still have a 33% higher risk. Because of this, some sociologists believe divorce is a social contagion.
That's interesting. I could agree with it. But at the same time, like, I mean, I remember when I was divorcing, everyone I met was like divorcing. It's like you just, like attracts like. It's very interesting. But I was thinking about this the other day, like in our friend group, there are, well, originally 1 married couple, or no, 2. Yeah, 2 married couples. And the rest of us are all single.
Who? Oh, in our rave fam?
Yeah, in our rave fam. Granted, a lot of, well, I mean, how many of us were, I guess when we divorced, it was 3 married couples. Everyone else was single. And now it's 2 married couples. Everyone else single. And so I'm just like, and then I was thinking about some of my other friend groups, and like most of the people that I like, kind of surround myself with now are mostly single. Whereas when I was married, I had more friends that were married. It's just very interesting how we all kind of like gravitate towards like, people that are going through like similar life experiences.
I mean, I don't know.
And that's kind of like what, LA as a collective is. Maybe that's why no one is married, is because we're all like going through like our own individual shit. So like we all attract that. So it's like, but then in the Midwest, like everyone's marrying. So then, everyone just starts marrying. I don't know. It is interesting. Good point of reflection.
It was so funny because like, I forgot what Niebuhr and I were talking about the other day, but he was like, okay, there's X amount of you in your, there's like 5 girls or 6 guys, whatever, like who's the odd one out? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, is everyone like partnered in there? And I'm like, no. I'm like, there's 1 married couple, and then everyone else is just like
Single, yeah.
Single, but not, in sexual connections with anyone else.
Yeah, platonic. It's
So.
interesting. Anyways, guys, sorry this was a super random episode, but
Yeah,
thanks
it
for
was.
tuning in. I don't know, I just found it really fascinating when we did that poll, yeah.
Yeah, doing that poll and then like reading that article, I was just like, that's so,
I mean, at the end of the day, like what I'm currently going through is I'm really trying to prepare for my next long-term commitment. And there are like a multitude of ways that I'm going about that. So like I was really fascinated by that because it made me think about like, okay, I don't want to get divorced again. So like what are the things that I want to do to make sure that like I avoid that in the future? And it's like being a lot more intentional about finding a partner, being a lot more like getting a lot more clarity around like what I want in a future partner, what I want, like I was saying earlier with like the hobbies thing, like those things matter to me. I want someone that likes all the things that I do. And then, when people say like lack of communication or like, sexless marriages or like like I want to learn how to communicate well. And I think you and I get pretty good practice with each other, but also like when I'm, in another relationship, I want to make sure that I really prioritize communication because I don't want that to be a detriment, and like understanding all the different nuances of communication, and then also like prioritizing sex, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm trying to do everything I can to like really set myself up for a really great long-term successful stable supportive partnership. And like, so these are the things that I'm like processing and to like prepare for that. But at the same time, I'm trusting that it'll come to me, and when it does, I'll figure it out too. But like preparing myself as well isn't a bad approach either.
I mean, for me, it's just, I was reflecting on like my past. Huh? I know. For me, I was reflecting on my past 4 relationships, being neighbor, Cody, Mike, ex-fiance. And I was thinking back to, and I have this pattern and I've recognized it now, and I need to and it's with communication, and I need to break it. I will not communicate something until the very last moment if I think it'll create conflict.
I do that too sometimes. I'm trying to also
I
get
do
better.
it.
Yeah.
Serially.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. Especially when, for communication.
So now
The earlier you nip it in the butt, the better.
No, exactly. And that's what I realized is like the more I wait, the more it's come back to bite me in the ass. So
that's a good point of reflection.
Anyways, I hope you learned something in this episode.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is a season of exploration. We don't know what's going to come out of our mouths until it does.
Yeah. And I've been exploring rock climbing and I'm loving it. And I've really, I feel like I'm truly starting to master skiing and I'm loving it too.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, wear condoms. Don't forget, support our links. Go to doubleteamedfam.com.
I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to do a shotgun.
We have all of our discount codes there. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to buy into capitalism, at least support us in the process. I'm just kidding. And
don't forget, thank your partner for everything that they do for you.
Yeah. Whether you
Actually, I'm surprised no one put that as a reason, a lack of gratitude, because I could definitely see that. Like, if you felt unappreciated in a relationship.
How many times have we fought about gratitude?
Oh, that was one of the main reasons. One of the main reasons we went to therapy. No, you're absolutely right. So actually, I'm surprised I didn't see lack of gratitude more, but I think that's a huge one. If you're not showing your partner enough appreciation eventually, and they just don't feel appreciated at all, like that's going to be grounds for separation or divorce or whatever. So I think that should, and maybe that goes under lack of commitment, or, where it's like nurturing the relationship, gratitude falls under that umbrella. That's like a part of it. But like, see, that's what I'm saying. When you're using these big broad terms, like you really got to get down to the nitty gritty and like the nuances of it. And so it's like, okay, lack of, or, not showing gratitude and appreciation, that could fall under both lack of commitment and lack of communication. And eventually that boils up to a point where your partner's fed up. They don't feel appreciated. They want to leave and they want to go to someone that makes them feel appreciated. So think of like the little things really are what like starts to add up to become the big things. So
and
always
don't let
keep
it
that in
pressure
mind.
cook. Don't let it pressure cook.
Don't let it pressure cook.
Just as soon as you feel it, say it, because it'll save you a lot more time in the future.
Definitely. Okay, now wear condoms.
Yeah,
we'll see you
we're
next
actually
time.
done this time. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.